Hello everyone. I just had listened to the most amazing idea that I had to share with you. But first, before I do that, something that was kind of funny. I was reading a comment. I love scouring social media sometimes just to read the comments, and somebody was talking about a live webinar training of some sort. I can't remember what it was, but so one of the comments was, why do marketers always record videos from their cars? And of course I'm like, well, yeah, so I started thinking about that. It's a good question. For me, it's none other than, it's the only time I have. I've got 5 kids, a full-time job, a side hustle. I don't have time to sit down and do a video at home, and I've got a 25-minute commute, so I use that time to record videos, and I try and make it as good as I can for you. I know it's a little bumpy and a little choppy, but the content is sound. Get past the bumpiness, and I hope nobody's getting seasick watching these. But anyways, I thought it was a funny comment. I didn't realize it was a thing. I didn't realize that so many people record videos in their car, but now I'll probably start noticing it everywhere. It's like that concept when you first buy a certain type of car, you know, it's a blue Camry or whatever it is, then all of a sudden you start noticing everybody's got the same thing, same color, same make, model, year. You never noticed them before, and then as soon as you have one, all of a sudden they're everywhere. So I'll probably start noticing now that marketers do a lot of filming in their cars. I don't know. Maybe it's not a thing, but I thought it was kind of funny. It struck me kind of funny anyways. But so here I am. Anyways, thought to share with you that I absolutely loved that I heard today on a podcast called The Art of Charm. If you don't subscribe to that, you ought to. They have a lot of fantastic content, good interviews, very, very smart people, and people being interviewed about a whole variety of topics. It's not even like a coaching or mentoring or anything. It's just good brain fodder. It just gets your brain going. You start thinking about interesting ideas and thoughts. I really like it. I like a lot of them. In fact, they're one of the few that I've actually shared where I like a podcast so much, so well, that I actually shared it. Anyways, the guest, and I wish I could remember his name, because this isn't my idea, and I always like to give credit where I can, but the guest was talking about the process of doing and becoming, which is, you know, absolutely related to goal setting in every way. And he had 3 words that are all related, and this is why I love this, because it's so easy to remember that you have to go. This is probably something you already knew, but for me, I discovered it for the first time, and so I love it, and that's why I'm sharing it. And I want to dive into this just a little and tell you some of my thoughts. But first step is to believe, and then second step, behave, and the third step is become. Don't you love that? Oh my gosh, that was so like insightful. It was like a mind blown, right? First believe, then behave, and then become. So that's the order of things. A lot of us want to skip right to the become. Oh, I just want to be. I don't want to have to do the work. I don't want to have to go through all that it's going to take for me to do that. The become is actually a natural result of the first 2. You first believe. You have to believe in what you're doing, and then you behave. In other words, action, right? You've heard me talk a lot about that in the past. Action. So believe, then take action or behave, and the natural outcome is going to be become. That's going to happen on its own. You don't even have to try and become something. Become isn't like an active word that you go and you become something. Become is the result of whatever it is that you're doing. It's a result of your habits. It's a result of the way that you think. It's a result of the friends that you hang around and what you do every single day. Okay, it's the grind. He was telling the story of John Grisham. It was an attorney, a lawyer who started writing a book. He wanted to become an author. You probably know him as an author, but before he was an author, he was a lawyer. And I guess a very successful lawyer, but he wanted to become an author. So he first believed in himself. You have to have the belief. That's kind of the foundation, is believing in yourself, because a lot of times you're the only one that will believe in yourself, especially at the beginning. You know yourself better than anybody else. And when you want to do something different with your life, everybody else sees you on the surface value. They judge you by what you've done in the past because that's all they have. Except for maybe some of the people closest to you, like your spouse or parents or siblings. They might support you on a different level, but most people won't. And so for the first part of your journey, you're going to be one of the few people that believes in yourself. So you've got to have that belief. And then the next one is, of course, behave. Well, John Grisham, he went into work an hour early every day for 2 years is what the story is, how he tells the story. 2 years, and he wrote a page a day. You go in and he would write 1 page every day. So it was a little bit of work on a consistent basis for a long period of time. Now, 2 years every day, that's a big commitment. And most of us would never last that. But his belief carried him through. And of course, it was something he was passionate about. He wanted to become an author. Well, the becoming is the outcome. You can't force that. So he became an author because of the hard work that he put in. Now, his first book was not a success, but he didn't give up. He did it again, the second book, for another year, coming in early to his office every day, writing just a little bit, until he had another novel, the second one, which turned out to be a huge bestseller, got picked up by a publisher, and that started his career as an author, a very, very successful author. John Grisham is probably a household name almost by now. And so he wanted it. He believed in it. He had the belief first, and then he had the behavior that matched his belief and his commitment. So the activity or the action, massive action, or a small amount of action over a sustained period of time. And then he became, the natural outcome, he became an author. And was it an easy journey? No. It wasn't easy, I'm sure. I haven't interviewed or talked to John Grisham. I've just heard the story and I'm passing it along. But I love that formula. Don't you love that? You first believe, and then you behave, and then you become. So what is it that you want to do with your life? Do you want to be, is there a profession that you're seeking? Is there a big life change? Is there a career change that you're in the middle of? Are you setting goals for, is it an income goal, or is it redefining your life? Maybe it's travel. Maybe it's something that has to do with your family, or a whole new sphere of influence. Or maybe you do want to be an author, just like John Grisham. Or maybe you want to influence people's lives in other ways. Or it could be a service mission. Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you can apply this same formula and have similar results as John Grisham. Believe, behave, become. So write your goals around those things. What is it that you want to become, and break it down and work backwards into all the way back to the behave and the action that you're going to take. I just went through the exercise today for a launch of a product I'm working on, and I wrote out the plan for the next 3 months, and I listed all of the things that I needed to get done, and I wrote a deadline next to them. And a dollar amount, because some of the things cost money. I want to manage how much it's going to cost me. And it's about a 3-month launch from start to finish. I'm still testing and researching to check market viability. But I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I've had some good response on it so far. And it just makes sense to keep moving forward. So I built a plan around it with a whole bunch of deadlines. So when I sit down in the mornings to fill out my goal cards, I can sit down to that plan and go, okay, what is next on the list? And it makes it really easy for me to put down my monthly activity, my weekly activity, and even my daily to-do list. But the belief is already there. I'm building on a foundation of belief. The belief is validated in the research phase for me, but I already believed in the product because I've used it myself and have had great results with it. So the belief needs to be there, but then the behavior, I think, is the biggest chunk. That's the hardest part too, because you look at John Grisham, and he had to hold on for 2 years the first go round, and he didn't even have success. How many people would quit after that? 2 years of coming into the office an hour early every day, 2 years, and then you pitch it and it flops. How many of us would pick ourselves back up? Honestly, it's easy to say yes, but think of it, 2 years. And I have a hard time sticking with something for 3 or 4 or 5 months, let alone 2 years. and pick yourself back up and do it all over again and say, nope, that's not it. I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to succeed. And he did. And maybe he wouldn't have succeeded. What if he didn't succeed? Would he have gone a third round? I think he would have. I think he was the type of guy that was so committed that he would have done whatever it takes. That's easy to say, and it's hard to do. So if you're in the middle of something and you're failing, you know what? That's part of life. John Grisham failed. Albert Einstein, the great inventors of our time, Steve Jobs, Mark Cuban, any great entrepreneur. Russell Brunson talks about it. Or Richard Branson and Russell Brunson. I always get those two mixed up. There's fantastic entrepreneurs of our day. When you read their stories, every one of them gone through failures. They all talk about them, but failures, because it's such an important part of the journey. If you're going through a failure, you're right on track. And I'm here to tell you that. So keep it up. Just keep the behavior going. Long term. You got to keep the behavior going, and you will become whatever it is that you're believing that you want to become in your life. The become is the natural result. It's the natural outcome of the behavior. So make the behavior match the size of your dream, and you'll become whatever it is that you believe you want to become.